Hello, I'm Selector, and this is QnA Saturday, the weekly series I run on my channel where I answer your questions that have been asked over the past week or so on my channel. These tend to be mostly focused on the next update for Minecraft on the console, but also they tend to be about other things people have wanted to ask, Minecraft questions, life questions, and the world in general, and I want to answer all of those in today's video. Hopefully you all do enjoy it. If you do all like the video, you can like and let me know because it helps out the channel a lot, and let's know you do enjoy this. I want to see more of this every single week on the channel, so let's get straight into it, shall we? And let's start by going into the very first question, which comes in from Steve66 Block Gaming, who says, IBX Troika, I was wondering if the Season Pass DLC will come to the Nintendo Switch. Also, IBX, I respect your opinions. I go to your channel every day for news, updates, what happened to Minecraft. You're by far one of the best Minecraft YouTubers and others too. So first of all, thank you very much, Steve66 Block Gaming. I do appreciate it. But to answer your actual question about the Season Pass DLC coming to the Nintendo Switch, it's actually been confirmed directly by Roger Carpenter. On the same stream, you saw all the confirmations about a new update. On that same stream, he confirmed that there wouldn't actually be, DLC for the Nintendo Switch right now. It's in this limbo phase where they're working out what's happening and when. So yeah, that's the reason there's no DLC, and the reason no Season Pass specifically is because the Season Pass was the idea of like, oh yeah, a new mini game's just released. If you want to pick it up, get all the new DLC when it comes out, you can do that. However, now that all of the DLC has come out, the Season Pass is slightly more redundant, and there's probably no point removing it from the Xbox One, but you gotta bear in mind, it's not gonna be a Season Pass anymore because it's first season that's already passed. And although, maybe they want to sell it anyway to some people, maybe Nintendo's system doesn't cover it, and basically they'd have to make a new system for a new platform that they can't necessarily do to do something that doesn't make sense anymore, and that's why the Nintendo Switch doesn't have a Season Pass. As to more DLC, so if you want to see anything else on the Nintendo Switch, we'll see something come soon enough, but yeah, for now, we just have to kind of like say that, oh yeah, well, a lot of DLC, they're kind of working out whether they should release it or not, and that's something I found interesting, and maybe you do too. So let's move on to the second question though, which comes in from Laura Ward, who says, in PE for dual wielding, why don't they just use different sides of the screen? So this theoretically could work if you are talking about split controls, I think, because, the whole left side of the screen is just used for like moving it left and right, but the problem is if you make both sides of the screen for, touching movement, then how do you just move the screen without breaking something, which is, kind of tricky enough by itself. But the second issue comes from the fact that most people don't use split controls. It's like the option. Most people seem to use the touch controls where you can just tap the block on the screen you want to destroy, and then that destroys it. And although this is kind of, has its own benefits, it has the downside of meaning that when they want to do something as big as dual wielding, they need to make sure they have it so that it works with every control system possible. It has to work on controllers, which it can do. It has to work on keyboard and mouse, which it easily can do. It has to work on split controls, which you can argue it kind of can do. And it has to work on touch controls when you're tapping the individual blocks, which right now would require like separate buttons and confusion. And basically, Minecraft on the PE is getting more complex all the time, and trying to add this would just create a whole new issue. So that's the reason why dual wielding isn't as easy as like, oh yeah, it's as easy as just click a button. It's actually quite a complex issue, and hopefully you understand now, Laura Ward, because I see a lot of like easy fixes that aren't quite so easy. There's a lot of things they've got to consider with the Bedrock version now because it's on so many devices and input methods. So yeah, let's move to the third question though, which comes in from David Bugatti, who says, Toycat, your sub count is saying the same. I'm just saying that I will like you and nothing will change that, not even your opinion on Minecraft Bedrock Edition. So thank you very much, David Bugatti. I like that your second name is a fast car, but let me just take a moment to respond to everyone who said something vaguely positive. I saw a lot of comments like this saying like, Toycat, I know a bunch of people are leaving because, you said this or that about Bedrock, but I'm glad you are, and I really appreciate you people being out there. Like, I know it kind of sucks that there are some people that only want to hear the exact thing they believe, and if they hear anything else, then they think that, oh, it's worth unsubscribing. I've had some people who are just like, honestly, Toycat, I did unsubscribe and now I'm back, and that honestly, it's not too great a thing, because if you unsubscribe from any channel you disagree with, if you stop talking to anyone you do disagree with, then you're going to end up in a situation where you don't ever like expand your views, and also where people that you do follow are encouraged to never say anything that they actually agree with. And I think that's terrifying, because then we end up in a situation where everyone says the same thing and we don't really have these individual thoughts. Like, it's fine to disagree with someone. There's a lot of people I do disagree with, and it's important to have that in some ways, both when it comes to pretty much anything in life, and particularly when it comes to YouTubers. So yeah, I think the thing that should make you subscribe or unsubscribe for YouTubers should be whether you're liking the content or whether you want to see the stuff, not whether you disagree with the fact that at one point they said, oh, the Minecraft Bedrock Edition was a little bit rushed. I think that's so ridiculous personally, and in real life I actually lost a friend because of this. We had a big disagreement at one point, and then he just didn't speak to me for like 2 years, and now still doesn't really talk to me just because I said one thing. Like Lily was like, that's too big disagreement, let's just not do this. And that's so ridiculous, because if you only listen to the things you agree with, you're not going to grow as a person. You learn because something that seems like it doesn't make sense, you later learn does make sense, and it makes you a better person. And there you go, life lesson with a little bit of a personal example. Thank you to everyone who is, you know, actually being reasonable. It's really scary how long the YouTube channel's being like stagnated at like 823,000 subscribers. It might be this way forever. It might start going down. But as long as there are some people who actually are enjoying it and want to see real opinions and real thoughts, then I'm glad we can continue to do what we're doing on this channel. So let's move on to the fourth question, which comes in from Monkey Gaming, who says, Q&A, in your opinion, what's the best looking item in Minecraft? So, and then an emoji. So to answer your question, Monkey Gaming, I think the best looking block would be like, you know, like probably concrete or stained glass. Like I love the blue stained glass just seeing in the background. I love the, you know, I love concrete. But if you're talking about like items, which excludes presumably any block in the game, because they're blocks, not items, then I'd say probably the Totem of Undying. I've built one before. I've made some pixel art of the Totem of Undying. I really like the Totem, and I think it's the best Minecraft item because it's kind of different to everything else in there. Like everything else kind of shares this common like theme to it, but the Totem of Undying is just this weird add-in bit, and I really like the way it looks, and it's a really good looking item. So that's my favorite item in Minecraft. Let's move on to the fifth question though, which comes in from Brendan Smith, who says, it isn't dual wielding that 1.7/1.8 Java players hate. It's the attack cooldown, shield, block hitting removal, and other extraneous things. I love the combat update, but Toycat doesn't seem to understand what the debate is. So let me just quickly clarify. I do understand the debate. I would like I've been dealing with this for so long on the YouTube channel, but I do want to clarify that when I say dual wielding, I'm talking about dual wielding and I'm talking about the combat changes. And you might say, well, why are you saying that? Like, if they're separate things, why do you refer to them as one? But the reason I refer to them as one is because most of the community seems to think that. Like, I really do genuinely think that, because, you know, of the PC players who don't agree with the new combat, a lot of them, you know, are PC, like, hardcore players who play servers, who are really into, like, you know, combat and don't like that changed. But a lot of people are just people who are, like, you know, heard from some YouTuber that, oh, it's the worst thing in the world, or, you know, played some server and didn't like it in some way. Basically, a lot of people just jump on the bandwagon, and that's why you've got to worry about this, because anything that's associated with the new combat, even if it's not necessarily a bad change, even if they would like it, they're going to think they hate it, and it's going to cause, like, a community problem. So that's why I mention them as being the same thing. And as far as, like, you know, them actually being linked, I think you actually kind of need to have them together, because if you have dual wielding without the new combat, the, you know, weakened combat essentially, removing spam clicking, then it makes the whole combat system a lot more powerful without any checks on its system. So yeah, the combat changes that came with it, you know, stuff like shields, for instance, they block like almost all damage, and if you can just do that, you know, without any limit to your attack, then there's going to be some really cheesy techniques. And my point here is that, yeah, you have to add new combat to have dual wielding, and that's why they're not adding new combat, because they're not they're not adding dual wielding because they're not adding new combat, because they don't add new combat, because everyone's upset with it. So yeah, there you go. Hopefully that explains things. I'm not just like ignoring the side of the debate that's the opposite side of me, because that'd be just as bad as the thing I said here. So let's move on to the next question, which comes in from Jake Central, who says, Q&A, do you dislike the new Mojang team compared to the 1.4 to 1.8 era? So I assume that means 1.4 PC full release, but as far as, like, you know, are they getting better or are they getting worse? I feel like things must have been different as time went on. Like, when Notch was working on the game by himself, the most progress was done, and it seems to have slowed down ever since then. So you could easily look at that and say, like, oh, it's getting worse, but the truth is the team is always expanding. They're just doing slightly less because the game itself to expand is bigger. And yeah, I don't actually like or dislike them any particular amount, especially because the Mojang team only makes the Java edition, which I don't really play the most, and now the Bedrock edition, which is where the new features are coming from. That's mostly developed by Microsoft themselves in Redmond, and a little bit of you know, Mojang stuff. So yeah, as far as, like, do I think the game's going better now than before? I think it's going just as good now as before. I think we're always like on the you know, the cusp of something new, but I don't know how things are going right now. I guess we'll have to wait and see in the next few updates. But I think in general the game is always getting better, and I think the development team was probably at their best when it was just Notch, which is a weird thing to say, but that's when the most updates came out. There was one like every 3 days or something, which is pretty insane stuff. So yeah, let's move on to the next question, which comes in from Panda X Studios, who says, what do you do for your GCSE/work experience? So if you don't know, in the UK, in year 10, I think you have to do work experience. Like, they just like take a week off school and everyone has to go do it. I'm pretty sure it's nationwide. It might just be where I live. But what did I do for you know, my work experience, and what I do for my GCSEs? Well, for GCSEs, I did like, I think only like 2 separate things: science, Spanish, but they didn't let me do Spanish, so it was history, and then some business. And as far as work experience, I didn't have to do it. I got some work experience arranged, and then like someone else took it, so I was just like, well, I guess I'm just not coming into school this week, or maybe I had to come into school anyway, but I didn't go into school regardless. And yeah, I got a week off, and I don't know how they let me get away with it, but somehow I did. I think I was running a website at the time, so that's why that counted. But I did do one. I've only ever worked for one real company for any time, and I did some work experience for like 3 days in college. It was called like New World Digital. Digital. It was basically a Panasonic office. I went in there. They said, we need this app to prove like delivery drivers can do this. Can you make a Windows 10 phone app? I was like, I totally can. Got home, realized I had no idea how to make a Windows 10 phone app. And it was the most disastrous thing because like I thought I knew where to begin, but I really didn't. And I just had to go from like scratch learning like some basic programming languages. And then I was like, okay, how do I learn the bare minimum of this whole new language just so I can make something that looks like I've done something real? And it was a fun little time. It was terrible, but that was what I did for my GCSEs, history, but not Spanish, even though I tried Spanish, business and science. And what did I do for work experience? I worked for New World Digital, I think they're called. So yeah, with that said, let's move on to the next question, which comes in from Spotty Plays, who says, if you have an Apple or Linux computer, you can download an Android VM and download Minecraft on it and use a keyboard. Easy stuff, really. So this is technically true, and this is a response to Minecraft not being on those platforms. However, the reason it's like not quite so valid a question is because you can technically do it. But if like having native versions on Linux and on Mac would be way bigger of a deal because they need to have some way for everyone to do it. You can technically do a whole bunch of things using Android emulators, but it's not fun. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't work right. It doesn't use your system resources correctly, and that's why it's kind of there, but not really. You can technically say anything's on every platform with that excuse, but it's not really the case. So yeah, let's move on to the next question, which comes in from Bruno Romani, who says, who wishes to return to the old Minecraft? And this is a question I get all the time. Like, Toy Cat, will there be a version selector? Can we go back? This or that? But the truth is that there isn't really much of a reason to do it. It's fun to do it like as a, like a one-off thing. Like, wouldn't it be great to have a version selector so we could go back and try it? But you wouldn't ever want Minecraft to downgrade and be like, you know what? Actually, the last 5 updates we released were a mistake. We're taking the game back to beta because the game was much worse then. There are tiny things that you don't realize you like from recent updates. And yeah, here's what alpha looked like. This is what some people get nostalgic about. But the truth is even when it looks like this, you kind of realize that, so even when it looks nostalgic, you're like, wow, it'd be so fun to build then. You just realize that so much of the game that you know and love now is just not there. Enchanted pickaxe? Nope. Want to have like anvils? Nope. Want to have like, any colored of like stained glass, wool, clay, all this sort of stuff? Or you'd have wool, I think. It was called something else back then, but it did exist. But a whole bunch of the blocks today, a whole bunch of the features, just everything was just missing. And although that makes Minecraft simpler, you could just not use those features if you really hated them too much. So yeah, I consistently say that even though Minecraft, this makes me nostalgic, I think, going back to old Minecraft versions is something you only do for a little bit, and then you realize like, oh yeah, there's a reason we play the current one. That's just my opinion though. But let's move on to the final question, which comes in from Avo, who says, do you ever play other games like PUBG or Overwatch? So I do play a little bit of PUBG. I'm mostly playing Fortnite right now, but so many people always ask me like, why don't you make videos on Overwatch, or why don't you make Fortnite videos in the background, or why don't you make videos on this game or that game? Why is that not a thing you're doing right now? So Cat, that would be a good idea. So the reason is because I make Minecraft videos because I like to believe that I can teach people stuff about Minecraft they might not have known, but like when I play these other games, I play them a lot more casually, and it's like, I think it's important to stick to the stuff that you're good at and that and that people want to see from you. And that's why even though I play some PUBG in my spare time, even though I'm playing this or that, it's like I don't have to upload every game because there's probably some channel that only plays Overwatch and he's the best one for that. So yeah, I play a lot of Minecraft for that reason. I'm playing a little bit more Fortnite. You're seeing that in live streams and stuff like that. But as far as like, will I play your particular game here? I wish I could play every game there ever was. I used to dream that like when I was an adult, that was all I'd do. Like wake up, play some games, wake up, play a different game, maybe work to like keep the electricity running, but then just play games all the rest of the time. But the truth is even if you do that, even if you do have 7 days a week, it's impossible to play every game. And when it comes to YouTube, it's impossible to play every game in a video, as much as that would be kind of cool. It probably won't be too cool for most people, but still, that's why the reasons behind that. And I hope you did all enjoy today's Q&A, where I answered the questions such as things about that. So if you did enjoy this video, you can like it, let me know, share if you really liked it, and subscribe if you're new around here, because I make videos like this one every single day on my channel. And if you subscribe, you'll see them daily on your homepage. Make sure you hit the bell so you can see these videos on that homepage like properly, because that's how YouTube subscriptions work now. And besides that, I hope you all enjoyed the video, because I'll see you next time. Goodbye.